Welcome to Real Talks with Pinks. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for the love we've been receiving on the channel. Please keep liking, commenting, and subscribing on the channel. Today we have a special guest with us. I'm going to ask her to introduce herself and then I'll tell you the topic of the day.
Thank you so much, Pinky. Hi, everyone. My name is Daniela Gusman. I'm the founder of Rise International, and I'm a social entrepreneur. It took me a while to get to know what social enterprise was because I was in the private sector for about 16 years. And then when I moved to Africa, because I'm originally from a small island called Malta, which is a rock in between Europe and Africa. And when I moved here in 2009, that's when I discovered social enterprise and found my calling. And so now I'm a social entrepreneur and I love it, and I could talk for days about social enterprise.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Daniela. Today we're going to be discussing the topic of mentorship, why it's important to have mentors. So Daniela, let's get straight into it. So the first question I'll ask is, in a nutshell, with your experience, what is mentorship and why is it important?
Yeah, so typically, people always think of mentors as something formal, but we actually have mentors from a very young age. Typically our parents are our mentors when we first, as we're growing up, they're the people we turn to for advice. And then we have more professional mentors as we get into the working environment. So since we're focusing on the profession now, but it's important to realize that we have different mentors for different things throughout our life. It's not like we have one mentor to go to for everything. But in the professional sector, a mentor tends to be somebody who's got at least 5 years more experience than you, who's got a lot of experience in whatever sector you're in, and is a sounding board, is a guide, somebody who is there to suss out ideas with, and also to help build your character and get you to see different angles of the situation. And often they're people, they should be, if they're a good mentor, somebody who's going to introduce you to networks and introduce you to different people that you're going to need, because one mentor is not going to address everything that you need. They are not your parent. They are not an ATM. So there's a lot of things that mentors are not, but they are somebody who really to go to for specific questions and challenges and things that you're looking for to help you in your onward, whether it's your career, whether it's in your studies, whether it's in growing or launching your business. So depending on what you're going to your mentor for, they serve different reasons. But what's important is that they've got experience, because they're going to be talking to you from their personal experience. And a mentor is also different from a coach. So a coach tends to be somebody who is gives you a lot of advice and takes you through lots of questions, and it's a lot more structured, whereas a mentor is more of a guide. So it's more informal, and therefore it's important to distinguish the differences between those two.
Okay. I think when you say it doesn't have to be a formal relationship, I can relate. I think I've heard mentors before in my life, but we did not specifically refer to each other as I'm a mentee, you are a mentor.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So tell me, what's your experience with mentorship in Lesotho and some of the programs that you guys run with Rise?
Yeah, so in Lesotho, it's been extremely challenging. We run a fellowship program, basically called In Loco, with young undergraduates who finish studying in the built environment. And when they start their incubation period with us after the fellowship, we give them a lot of business service support to help them set up their own businesses. And one of those services is mentorship, because that's very important in, starting a business. 1 in 10 businesses will succeed. So more than not, businesses fail. If you have a mentor, you're a lot more likely to succeed. It's just a known fact. It's statistics. So our challenge here, and it's been the most challenging component of the services that we offer, both because I think there's a culture here in Lesotho, even when you're growing up, not to ask questions, right? Children are supposed to be seen but not heard. So, and it's the very opposite of what you need to be an entrepreneur. And when you're in a mentorship relationship, you need to ask lots of questions. Otherwise, you're not going to get anything out of that relationship. So that's been very challenging. And also people are very busy. So there are people who are interested in being mentors, even though a lot of people are being mentors for the first time. There isn't a sort of an established culture of mentorship in the country. So we create structure around it to make it, to establish expectations and make sure that the mentees are going to get as much out of it as they want, but also to set the expectations as to what they should and shouldn't be asking for from the relationship. And then what happens is mentors are busy, and then the mentee gets shy and they don't push enough to make that meeting happen, and then it doesn't happen, and then weeks become months without anything happening. So for various reasons, it's been extremely challenging to get the mentorship program to be a success. And I think there needs to be a more understanding, which is why I'm really happy that you contacted me to talk about this topic, to raise awareness about the importance of it and what it entails and what the roles are of both mentors and mentees.
Yeah, so in particular, I called you because I needed people to come and shed some light about mentorship and why it's important for both parties, mentors maybe to make time for other young people and mentees to come forth so that the relationship is mutually beneficial. So tell me, in your life as well, have you had mentors, and how have you benefited from the relationship?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what a mentor really has done, when you're really focused on something and you're very passionate about something, you become like a steam train, right? At least I have been. And I'm so focused on that, you tend not to see all the different angles of things. So a mentor can help you see all the pros and cons and the different aspects. Ultimately, you have to reach the decision. It's your decision that you have to make. But a mentor really helps you look at the situation 360 that sometimes you don't see because you're so wrapped into whatever it is that you're aiming to do. Also, a mentor is there as a sounding board. Often, they're very scary decisions that you have to make, that you're not necessarily feel that you're ready to make them. You feel insecure, you feel afraid. And it can be, you have to do a big pitch to a potential donor or client, whatever it is. And a mentor is there to practice with, and they can give you advice and give you the support, be that sounding board that often we lack. So mentors for me have really filled two key areas. One is on technical advice, and especially when making some crucial decisions, when launching Rise, for example, what sector should we focus on? Should we try and be everything to everybody? And speaking to people who've been down that road, who've set up organizations, who can speak from experience, but then a lot of personal traits, to help be that confidant and that sort of booster when you feel the whole world is against you and everything's going wrong and you feel like, why am I doing this? Mentors really help you keep to your ambition and to keep on track.
I'd like to make an example with my experience. I had an informal mentor. So I want to speak about the networks that a mentor can expose you to. So one of my mentors actually linked me up with someone who was running a fellowship in the US. So I was able to get an opportunity just because they referred me to that network. And that's how I was involved in such a program. So in Lesotho in particular, we have high unemployment rates. And like you said, with startups, there's a chance of 9 startups failing. So speak to those people who are just starting off. Why is it important to tap on their networks and try and get mentors?
Absolutely. I mean, you only know what you know, right? So you need to expand your knowledge, your base. Often, we in Lesotho, we're kind of we're a landlocked country, and we tend to be very forgotten about. It amazes me how many times I go and speak to various people in South Africa where there's a lot of expertise and associations and trade bodies and so much development. And I'm often told I'm the first person they've ever met from Lesotho. So I think we forget, that on our doorstep, we have such a resource, and it's important to broaden our minds, to broaden our perspectives. That's where ideas come from. So mentors help us really tap into that larger network, because you might have an idea, but it's not until you start speaking to people about it that you see, actually, is it that much, is it that unique? Are you really offering any value? Is there going to be a market for that, that people are prepared to pay for that service or that product I'm talking about, when you're trying to start up a business? Have other people potentially already done that? What are their failures? Learn from that. Don't repeat the same mistakes. You often don't have to reinvent the wheel. Let's learn from others and build on that, so it can accelerate your growth if you actually have access to those networks. And you never know where that network can lead you to. That's why it's so important. Also, the skill of networking is something that I think is quite nascent here in Lesotho. I think because of the humble nature of people see it as very arrogant, right? When you sell yourself to people, and actually that's what you have to be if you want to be an entrepreneur. And the Kenyans are very good at that. The Ugandans are very good at that. The Basotho can be good at that. We just need to realize that actually it's not being arrogant. It's telling people what you're capable of doing. And so, then knowing what to do with that network. So I always say, whenever you meet somebody, go with an open mind, ask lots of questions, because you never know what that person might teach you, who that person might lead you to. And it might be other networks, as you said yourself, or other people that then lead to other things, and that's the universe. Our brains are energy seeking forces. So we have to make ourselves be open to those lessons, those energies, those opportunities, and that's when things start happening to you. If you have an attitude of being closed up, then things aren't going to happen.
That's true. And lastly, I want us to speak to young professionals who are more experienced in the field, who may not know that they could contribute something to another young person. There are so many professionals in Lesotho. Like you said, some people are busy, some don't even know where to go to avail their skills. What do you say to those young professionals who can tap into other young people and give them this experience that they have? What do we say to them? Because I know so many people are experienced.
Absolutely. And young, middle-aged, older professionals.
Yeah.
I think we focused a lot on what mentees get out of the mentorship, but actually mentors get a lot out of it. I don't think there's anything more rewarding in life than helping somebody succeed to achieve their ambitions and their goals. So that alone, being part of that journey from a mentor's perspective is extremely fulfilling and rewarding. And also, mentees now, young professionals coming out of university with the fourth industrial revolution have a very different approach. It's a sort of innate way of marketing. I mean, my 17-year-old niece, she just turned 18 yesterday, she launched a lip gloss making company. The way she markets herself is just natural, because that's the way she socializes on social media. And I've learned so much, somebody in my mid-40s who didn't learn all this stuff. Yes, we do social marketing, of course, but to them it's nascent. So I think there's a lot to be learned from mentors. So yes, they can give a lot of advice from the route and the journey that they've taken, but also learn a lot from the mentees, because the world is a very different place now to what it was 20, 30 years ago. The way business is done, the way we market ourselves, print media is dying. Everything's going on digital media. So there's, that, as well as the fulfillment of seeing somebody. So please, if you have, at least 5-6 years of professional experience, put yourself out there, volunteer to be a mentor. Being a mentor doesn't require a huge amount of time. We're talking 2 to 4 hours maximum a month. You organize, to meet twice a month, and you have very specific goals and objectives of what you want to get out of those meetings, that the mentee should be driving that. And you get to see a young person flourish and thrive and develop their business. And we really need to address this problem of unemployment that we have here in the country.
How do we address people that say, what do I get out of it? We want to be mentors. I get so many people say that. We've started programs where we really wanted to help young people. But really, some people are always like, it's my time. What do I get in return?
I would suggest ask yourself, when you were starting out in your 20s, think of the person, who helped you in your journey. And if you didn't have that person, think how much faster your journey would have been and how much more likely successful it would have been had you had that person. So wouldn't you like to give that opportunity back to somebody who's starting out? It's as simple as that. So many people say, oh, I wish I had a mentor when I was starting out. So yes, let that be. And it, we need to work at improving. Lesotho's got so much to offer. There is no reason why we should continue being a low-income country. We have a lot of space, we have a lot of water, we have a lot of resources, we have a lot of bright people. We need to stop brain drain. We need to create a thriving environment where Basotho stay in country and stop going overseas, over to South Africa, and stay within Lesotho.
Okay. How do they get involved? Lastly, if they want to get involved with RISE in particular, I know in Lesotho, I know about only, I think 4 people. It's RISE, it's Inspire, it's another one of Lerato, I forgot the name, and
yes,
then
LM Foundation.
Yeah, LM Foundation, yeah.
Yes.
I know you guys, RISE, I know LM Foundation, I know Inspire, and I just forget this one. If they want to get involved?
Yes, absolutely. So if you want to get involved, please visit our website, which is riseint.org. That's rise, RISEINT.org. And you can click on volunteer and belong to our program. Inspire Innovation also has their website. But if you're interested in mentoring to any of the programs, you can send an email to our website, and we'll divert you. We work very, very collaboratively with all those organizations. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. I've enjoyed understanding mentorship as well. Yes.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. You see the beautiful sweater I'm wearing. I'm dressed by Bonono Merchants. Please check them out on Instagram and also check them out on Facebook. These sweaters are really nice in different colors. Thank you so much for joining us. Keep liking, commenting, sharing our videos if you really, really like them. See you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye.